So today we're going to look at finding the volume of various 3D shapes. Before we start, let's look at some jokes. Pretty funny jokes, huh? Let's jump into some vocabulary. This is a review from last time. Here we have two-dimensional shapes. We're dealing with three-dimensional shapes. The flat part of a three-dimensional shape is called a face. Along the sides is called an edge. The corners are called vertexes or vertices. And a prism is a three-dimensional shape that has two parallel and congruent faces called bases. And what are the bases of this prism here? They're triangles. So this would make this a triangular prism. Here are some examples of some common 3D shapes. See how this is a square pyramid? We identify its base first, and then identify that the rest are triangles. Therefore, it's a square pyramid. So if we're looking at a 3D shape, volume be the actual cube itself. It's the content inside of the 3D shape. And the surface area, which is what we talked about last time, is the stickers on the outside. Let me give you another example. Looking at this giant M&M container, what would be the volume? The volume would be the M&Ms inside. And the surface area would be the container. So if we had here an M&M, what would be the volume and what would be the surface area? The surface area would be the painted color on the outside. The chocolate would be let me just eat this real quick. Now that we've identified the difference between volume and surface area, let's look at how to find the volume of various figures. So here we're given a cube, much like the cube here. What are some observations you can make about this cube? Well, looking at this cube, we can see that the height and the width are the same. So therefore, in this example, if it's 2, the height is going to be 2 as well. And so is the length. But first we need to know the formula to find the area of a cube. Our length is 2, width is 2, and our height is 2. Now we simply multiply these together to get 8. So then my volume is 8 millimeters cubed. It's important to remember that when you're finding the volume of a three-dimensional shape, you cube your units. So we'll do length times width times height. So we'll do 15 times 16 times 20. And 15 times 16 times 20 is 4,800. Now we'll divide it by 2. And that's going to get us 2,400 meters cubed. So that's one way. Is to do base times height. So volume equals base times height. So the base is equal to half base times height. And this is going to equal, for our area, 120. Now we'll take our 120 and put it in for B. So 120 times 20. And when we multiply these together, we get 2,400 meters cubed. This is really helpful and useful when we have more complicated volume problems. And this will work for every single question if you find the base and multiply it times the height. Third question. If we think about a rectangular prism, if we cut that into thirds, we actually get 3 pyramids. So then we can say that for the pyramid with the square base, length times width times height divided by 3. So we'll put in a 9 and a 9 and a 5 here. 9 times 9 is 81. And 81 times 5 is equal to 405. Now we'll take the 405 and divide it by 3. And we get 135. So the volume of this square pyramid is equal to 135. The volume of a square pyramid is a third base times height. So let's do it this way. So a third, and our base is 81, because 9 times 9 is 81, and our height is 5. So 81 times 5 is 405, and 1/3 times 405 is equal to 135 meters cubed. So here we're asked to find the volume of the prism below. So to find the volume of this rectangular prism here, we need to remember the formula, length times width times height. So we'll start off by multiplying the edges, 23 and 7. So we'll get 161. Next we'll multiply the height, which is 5. 5 is 805. We'll make sure to include the km cubed. So today's learning goal was, I can find the volume of various 3D shapes. Thanks for tuning in.